U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken wrapping up another busy diplomatic tour of the Middle East in a bid to calm hostilities between Israel and Hamas, which are near boiling point. During closed-door discussions with the Turkish foreign minister in Ankara, Mr. Blinken said he discussed attempts to work towards lasting peace in the region and how to expand humanitarian efforts in the Gaza Strip.
I think we've made some good progress in recent days in working to expand that. Ambassador Satterfield remains in the region working that every single day. We've also had very important conversations throughout this trip with countries in the region on the role that everyone can play in making sure that the conflict doesn't expand, doesn't spread to other countries. And of course, we remain very focused on the hostages held by Hamas, including Americans, in making sure we're doing everything possible to bring them home.
Mr. Blinken's first visit to Turkey since the October 7th Hamas attacks was met with some local anger. Dozens of protesters gathered in front of the Turkish Foreign Ministry, where the diplomats were holding talks in a second day of protests. Hours before his arrival on Sunday, hundreds of people from a pro-Palestinian rally tried to storm an air base housing American troops. Washington maintains a humanitarian ceasefire is the best way forward. It's concerned that calling for a full blanket ceasefire could aid Hamas. But Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has also ruled this out unless hostages being held by Hamas militants are first released. Meanwhile, back in the United States, Vice President Kamala Harris is set to hold talks with foreign leaders today. They are expected to discuss the unfolding humanitarian crisis in Gaza and how the flow of aid into the enclave can be ramped up. The UN Security Council also scheduled to hold a closed meeting today at China's request. Beijing has taken over the presidency of the UNSC this month and says it will do its utmost to restore peace in the region. And for more, let's go live to Sarah Coates in Tel Aviv. Sarah, let's start with Mr. Blinken's visit to the Middle East. What has he achieved this time?
Hello, Wei Su. Well, look, it doesn't seem as though Mr. Blinken has achieved too much in Turkey, given that the United States and Turkey have very differing positions on a number of different issues. Let's first talk about the cessation of hostilities. The United States wants a humanitarian pause. It's been pushing for that this entire trip that we've seen Blinken embark on, while Turkey wants a full unconditional ceasefire. Now, a few things that really stood out for me there. We do know that meeting went for 2.5 hours behind closed doors. Blinken wasn't greeted by President Erdogan or any real senior members from Turkey, greeted by a junior minister, and it really is being seen as a snub to the Secretary of State. Also, no joint statement was issued between Blinken and Turkey's foreign minister, although you just played that soundbite then from Blinken departing Ankara, leaving Turkey. He said a few things there. He said that we're working toward a durable, lasting peace in the Middle East, although he didn't elaborate on that, how that would be potentially achieved or what it would entail. He also said that they did agree to increase humanitarian aid. No further details on that either. And he said that they did talk about preventing the conflict from spreading. And look, this is something that is a real concern at the moment. We did learn very early this morning that the United States has now deployed a nuclear submarine. It is currently pretty close to this area here. It will be joining these two aircraft carrier squadrons that the US has already sent. They're sitting right now in the eastern Mediterranean. And look, there are real fears of this conflict getting even worse in other parts, not just talking here about the Gaza Strip. We're talking about Israel's northern border. These cross-border skirmishes with Hezbollah militants just continue to increase. And just around an hour ago, the United Kingdom announced it is temporarily pulling some of its embassy staff from Lebanon. And this really just goes to show how worried it is about a potential spillover here.
Sarah, but if we look specifically at the Gaza Strip, Israeli Defense Forces saying that they have, as intended, split Gaza in two. Where are we on that situation right now?
Well, look, the IDF says it's taken control of what it calls a Hamas stronghold. We do know, according to the Israeli military, it hit around 450 targets in just the last 24 hours. Now saying that, yes, it has split the north from the south, saying that it has encircled the Gaza Strip, the Gaza City, rather, from the air, from the sea and from the land. We've seen many pictures released by the Israeli Defense Forces of tanks and soldiers getting closer and deeper inside Gaza. And look, it says that in the next day or two it will enter Gaza City, and this is going to be a bloody battle, hand-to-hand combat, urban warfare. We do know that Hamas has many tunnels which run underneath the Gaza Strip already. According to the Israeli military, they've lost 30 soldiers. We don't have an exact number on Hamas fighters, but Israel says it has killed dozens and dozens of Hamas operatives. And really, just to show how close this incursion into Gaza City might be, the military has now ordered anyone left, any civilians left in the north of the Strip, to move south for their own safety. And just very quickly, you know, this comes as this humanitarian situation is getting worse by the hour. We are learning that Al-Shifa Hospital, the director of that hospital there, the largest in the Gaza Strip, says it will cease to operate in the next few hours if no more fuel comes in.
Thanks for that update. Sarah Coates reporting to us there from Tel Aviv.